They say it's his journey to the underworld. That's what that depicts. But it's like, well, why the fuck is he flying up?
Why would he need levers?
Why would he need levers?
The fuck is he doing?
Welcome to the Conspiracy Kitchen.
What's up, guys? The kitchen is open, and this time both chefs are in. And we'll be serving up a big helping of alien theories today. So I guess grab a dish, and we'll dig on in. Josh.
Hi.
So we'll start with, what do you think aliens are overall? So do you think they're like a nefarious group, or do you think they're more like a overseer of which to like watch over us like primates and make sure we don't like you just fucking kill each other?
Honestly, I feel like, I don't know if you ever saw the episode of South Park where all the different alien races are just watching humanity and judging if we're stupid enough or like too stupid to like allow into the universe.
Yeah,
Kind of feel like it's like that.
that's kind of how I was thinking. I feel like they're like for the most part they're like an overseer to make sure we don't just absolutely fucking destroy each other, and just kind of make sure we go in the right path and not destroy the planet and fuck everything up for them. But it's probably what I think they are. Going back farther, about alien interaction on this planet. I'm gonna go way back, say billions of years ago when we had these single cells. I believe back then. So science shows that when this planet first started, there was a bunch of single cell organisms, microbes, and it was pretty stagnant. Not much development for, a long time. And then we had multiple meteor impacts on the planet. And after that, it seems like there was a quick growth of evolution to multicellular, more complex. Now, I'm not talking about like mammals and stuff, but they got more complex. So I think the first encounter of aliens that this planet has was microbes that it wasn't their choice. They just rode on a meteor or something that hit the planet, and then kind of like, intertwined with current molecules, and that's what kind of sprung us forward to the now, mammals ruling the world and that stuff. But then after that, I think we had more of an intelligent alien later on that kind of helped us through our delicate times and civilization. That was kind of a different alien, but no one really talks about that original alien that I think really sprung evolution on this planet.
You saying like a Big Bang kind of thing, or just like meteor bringing in?
Just meteors bringing them in. Yeah, so like when Earth was young and all, very uninhabitable besides, microbes, it was being pelted constantly by comets. That's how we got our water and meteors and stuff. So I believe, some kind of spore, some kind of seedling was on those meteors. So because for a long time, there was not much change. It was just single cell microbes doing their thing, fucking around, not doing anything. And then when these meteors and everything was hitting, there was a time period where there was rapid evolution to more multicellular, complex life forms. Not really, animals yet, but small plants and stuff like that. And I think that's the first introduction of maybe alien, and a lot of stuff maybe even comes from stuff that didn't start just on this planet.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, isn't there evidence that there's like, what is it, not moon dust, but like star dust?
Yeah, there is evidence that like on meteors that land here that have the building blocks of DNA on those meteors from outer space. Now, not necessarily living organisms, but the stuff that makes living organisms.
Yeah. So there's definitely some merit to that theory then. I mean, where do you think the more intelligent alien species kicked in and started to visit?
So there is a theory that they came around, and I don't know how much it holds water, but so once the dinosaurs kind of took over and were the dominant species, there's a theory that an intelligent life form saw this and was like, this isn't really good for an intelligent life to live on this planet, because they worry about, dinosaurs fucking eating them or stepping on their fucking house or something. So there's a theory that the aliens is what caused the extinction of dinosaur by bringing a large meteor to the planet and killing them to kind of then change it so that life could change, go in a different direction where mammals took over and an intelligent being could be on this planet. There's that, which would probably be the first, but I don't know how much that holds water. I don't know if you like that theory. Maybe our listeners can, they can make their own mind up about that. But I think the first ones were when you really start seeing humans talking about gods. So when the civilization started to form a little bit and they're having these, gods coming from the skies, I think that's when we really started to have these alien species come and interact with people.
The dinosaur theory is interesting because it sounds like if they were to wipe them out with a meteor, it sounds like they're almost farming intelligent species. So they're eradicating something they basically can't use or work with to make way for something more intelligent.
Exactly, yeah. They wanted, obviously, the lizards are not going to cut it, and then they wanted, a different species that, could produce an intelligent being, like, so then the primates came along, and I think then they're like, oh, yeah, let's sit here and, farm these and grow them into something that's, useful and intelligent for the universe.
Yeah, there is theories on that. I mean, going to Mesopotamia. So I heard a story that they were visited by a race of aliens called the Anunnaki, and basically their whole thing was they came here back before humans were ever, thing, and it was still primates. And they built pyramids all over the earth. That's why you see them on all different continents.
Okay.
And then they started to fuse their DNA with primate DNA, which created the human species, and then basically use them to farm for them and gather, metals and stuff like that. And they put them in the pyramids to then collect and bring back to wherever they came from. That's just what I read. It's a very odd theory, but
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, I can see that because you got a lot of people think the Greys are that alien species that's just like the big head but little body.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like no physical, like they have very low physical ability, like to, strength wise. And I could see them wanting to be like, what, these primates have that physical strength. So let's try to, crossbreed to get that. Try to, selective breeding to get that. Our intelligence with their strength. I can see that.
It's just interesting because then it goes into, what is it? The whole giant thing, because they're described as these giant beings. And
these are giant. Okay, they're not the little Greys.
No, these are the fucking jacked apparently.
Okay.
But they still want to, use humans to basically farm and then
do their bidding.
Yeah.
It's below them to farm, huh?
It's like a bug's life. They use them to farm, and then they eat the food, and then they fuck off back to wherever they came from.
I mean, it's a way to look at it, I guess. And then just the whole vast size of the universe makes it almost impossible for me to believe that there isn't, some type of intelligent life out there. And then on top of that, you say, oh, well, it's so far away. But Einstein's theories show that you can bend space-time and make wormholes by theory. And what it shows in theory is that, like, you take a piece of paper and you go from the top to the bottom, that's that distance. But Einstein's theory basically says you can take that paper, which is space, and fold it in half and then put your pencil through the paper to get from point A to point B. That's what Einstein's theory shows. And if these, intelligent beings are able to bend space-time using gravity and such, then you can travel great distances instantly by, the wormhole.
Yeah, I mean, it would make total sense that that's how different races of aliens have visited in the past, that we haven't been able to, venture out into space nearby and find anything because they'd be so far away.
Yeah, I mean, the closest life supporting planet that we know of by life supporting life as we know it would be Wolf 1069b, And I believe that's like 30 something or more, 40 something light years away. So, I mean, obviously, with our current technology, we would never be able to get there in a ton of lifetimes. But with Einstein's theories, theoretically could if you bend space time.
Now, you mentioned that planet. What was the name of it?
Wolf 1069b.
You mentioned that to me the other day when we were talking, and I'm still. What is it like the closest to what Earth is?
It's the closest planet that is in the habitable zone of its star, which means it's a planet that they believe would have temperature ranges that would support water in liquid form.
Oh,
And they
okay.
believe that's like the most important thing for life is to have water on a planet in liquid form,
Okay, that makes sense.
which they believe Venus had years ago, billions of years ago. So I mean, there's a lot of speculation that Venus once harbored life billions of years ago, but after time being, its proximity to the sun being closer, and like you got like a greenhouse gas effect, and then the thicker the atmosphere came, the more heat was trapped in, which made the atmosphere thicker, and that's why it's just uninhabitable today. But they believe it used to be it was a very similar planet to Earth, a rocky planet, and actually we're sending probes there soon to check out its surface because we can't see through the atmosphere.
Yeah, because I know was it Elon Musk wants to move to Mars or something like that.
He wants to send a colonizate like I don't know if he wants to colonize it, but he wants to send a landing crew to Mars. I mean, that's like another planet that we thought may have supported life at some point. Venus is actually closer to Earth than Mars, like as in terms of its genetic makeup. Mars is more sandy, but our rovers have detected traces of ice underneath the soil. So we believe there used to be water there. And then if you look at the landscape, you can see where it used to be. It looked like riverbeds and oceans and stuff. So he wants to go there and see if we can find anything living under the soil, microbes or stuff, to see if we can get some kind of alien life to know, hey, it doesn't just happen on Earth.
It's always interesting. We'll love to see how that turns out, but I'll probably be dead by the time I get there.
Now I think he said not very long, within 10 years. You want
That's
to launch it?
10 years. That's it?
Yeah, for him to launch, I think he's pretty close to getting something together to launch out there. I mean, we're supposed to be sending another rover, I think next year, which can actually dig up and bring back. The only, you have to watch out bringing back. I guess you don't want to fucking bring back something that causes a gigantic fucking pandemic, and if there is life forms there. But then again, they might not even be able to live on Earth because they're used to that harsh environment right now.
I've seen that movie. They got what is it? I think it was called Passenger or something like that, but they're like in space and then something gets in and they're like, oh, we got to keep it locked away. And it just never works out.
No.
Someone's head always explodes and then.
And then I'm thinking, like, we look at all these other planets using our, telescopes. But once you start getting like 10,000 light years, 30,000 light years, a million light years away, and we're looking at these planets, you have to realize, like, you're looking at that planet a million years ago. You have no idea what it looks like today. We can't. It's too far away at this, with our current technology to see instantly. So, yeah, you could look at that planet and be like, it looks like it could support life, but I don't see anything. Meanwhile, a million years, if it's a million years, light years away, a million years has passed since what you're looking at right now on that planet. I mean, a million years ago on Earth, you weren't going to, it probably would have been much harder to determine if there was life here. So the thing about not knowing if there's life out, to me, it almost seems impossible.
Yeah, it's almost, I don't know, it's almost like a time capsule looking at planets now because, like you said, you're looking at it so many millions of years ago. And the planet could be gone by this point. You just
It could
don't
be
know.
gone. It could be absolutely gone. It could be completely different. You could have satellites all around it at this point, but we're looking at it and it's 20,000 years. 20,000, so you're looking at it and you're like, oh, there's nothing really there. But the light took 20,000 years. But 10,000 years ago, or even 5,000 years ago, whatever, they put satellites up. They have satellites orbiting, but we can't see that yet because that light off those satellites are going to take 20,000 years to get to us. So I just don't. It's very hard, I guess, to find this intelligent life out there, but I don't think we're alone in the universe. There's like the possibility of that is just has to be extremely low.
Yeah, I mean, the level of self-absorption to be like, oh, we're alone, we're the only, intelligent species in the universe. You're very self-obsessed at that point.
It's like almost impossible. I mean, there's how many millions of stars, and then you have planets that float around them, and then there has to be. You're telling me that like none of them had that opportunity to have a habitable planet spin around it. To me, it's
None of
just
them. None of them.
none of them. Yeah, and we can't even see. I think we could see right now 68 billion light years away or something. Um, but we can't see past that far because the light didn't get to us yet. So it's expanding still. So we don't even know what's past that outer side because the light didn't get to us yet. So just who knows how vast and how many planets are still undiscovered because we just haven't gotten the light yet from them.
No, no, we're alone in the universe. It's just us.
It's just us.
That's all it is.
I mean, if you think it is like anything can go wrong and just wipe out an entire race of people. I mean, there could have been, not too long ago, there could have been a whole freaking civilization in our back door, not too far before we actually started exploring space, but they could have been wiped out by an asteroid. So that's why, like, when they're like, oh, if the aliens visited, the Egyptians, why are they not visiting us now? There's a ton of reasons why. They could have been wiped out. They could have left. They could have said, yeah, fuck this, we're down here, we can move on.
They could have seen us getting dumber. I mean,
they could have seen us getting like, dumber and just say, yeah, this ain't worth it. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many planets out there. There's no way. And no way. And there's just so much evidence. I mean, that, everyone, these mainstream people try to debunk all the time, but there's just so many things on our planet now that kind of points to that alien intervention.
there is a lot. Let's talk pyramids. Let's get into that.
Pyramids. Egyptian pyramids.
Yeah.
So, like the Great Pyramid of Gaza. The cornerstone at the base is on the coordinate that equals the speed of light. Like, is that just a coincidence? Just happened to do it?
That's what I love about the internet, because you ask that, and then a
It
million
is.
people will straight up be like, nah, it's a coincidence. You're full of shit. That's all it is.
You're full of fucking shit that those three pyramids line up with the Orion's belt. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah. People don't like to ask questions that make them think.
Close my just whatever. Just stay on this straight line. Don't fall off it. Don't ask questions. Don't get uncomfortable. It's just a coincidence, guys. And how they built it. They built it in 26 years. There's limestone bricks that are 10 tons, and there's so many stones involved that it would probably take you'd have to cut these stones and place them every 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Every 7 minutes, a fucking stone. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 26 years to make this one pyramid. Using rope and pulleys and ramps. Are we sure about that?
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen that way, did it?
There's no shot. She has no chance in hell.
You're saying they had some kind of advanced technology.
I'm saying that I watch people do these kinds of jobs now with machinery, and they still can't fucking hack it.
You ask a modern day engineer if you can build the Great Pyramid of Gaza in 26 years, and they would have they would struggle doing it now with modern equipment. And people don't realize there's a basement in that thing. It's not just that part that sticks out of the ground. There's a basement in there. There was so much work gone into, making this thing that it's almost like they had to have had some kind of help, outside help. Now, I'm not saying that only the aliens built it, because there's like, there's work camps with dead people nearby. We know the people. Well, yeah, the people probably helped. The aliens weren't just going to do it for them. But I'm sure the aliens helped them with certain technologies. Even if you do that theory that they use sound waves to levitate rock, you think they just came up with that on their own?
They got lucky. They're like, oh shit.
I feel like there was an advanced intelligence that was like, this is how if you want to do this, this is how to make it done better, faster.
Yeah. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. You mean to tell me these people are just dragging blocks?
There's dragon blocks. They're wherever they're forming it, whatever they're making it so perfectly cut. What were they cutting it with? They floated them downstream on a boat, on the Nile, but they still had to drag them from there up a ramp. It's like, how tall is it? 450 feet tall?
Yeah, they had to drag it up a ramp and then tie it, put it with a pulley. So many people have to lift it. Then you still have to carve it, which takes fucking hours because you don't have anything, you know.
I mean, it's 455 feet tall. The base is 750 feet across. So, like, you're telling me they fucking drug these fucking... And the lighter ones were what, 2 ton? Still, 4,000 pounds. You're telling me they drug 4,000 pounds up 455 feet by themselves with a fucking ramp and a pulley and a rope?
Yeah, drag a Buick. Tell me it's easy.
Yeah, and that thing has wheels.
Yeah, exactly. You could put it in neutral. It'd still be impossible. No, but it's like, yeah, there's that, and there is a basement. There's 3 basements. There's actually 3 basements it goes down. And
they just did it.
It's just 3 separate shafts that it goes in all different directions. But yeah, it was easy. They were just dragging him Minecraft and that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's taller, literally taller than the Statue of Liberty, but they just drug it. They put the blocks in their pocket and just laid them down in creative mode.
In creative mode, yeah.
That's the only way you would do it. Try to do it in fucking Minecraft. It's still gonna, not in creative mode. It's still gonna take you fucking forever.
You know what's annoying? I did do it in creative mode, and I got all the way to the top and realized I fucked up the count. So it wasn't a perfect point, and I just deleted the save file.
But and then the Egyptian gods. So they all come from the heavens, don't they? But
Yes.
they ride in on craft ships. They talk about how they came down in ships. To me, it's not a god. They viewed them as their gods because they were, maybe a higher intelligence. So they kind of just like, they're freaking whatever. But I believe it was aliens coming down and helping them. And if they pleased the aliens helped them. And that's why they would try to help, please the alien, please the gods, because they're trying to help please these gods to have them come down with their technologically advanced ideas and bestow it on these people and help them get through tough times. I mean, back then it must have been hard as fuck to live. You're worrying about fucking dying every day.
Yeah. Get a splinter. They put you down.
Put you down. They met just a huge infection. Freaking arm falls off.
Ugh.
It had to have been. It's too coincidental that then you have hieroglyphics that look like helicopters, which they say is just 2 birds sketched over each other for some reason. I don't know how.
That one still annoys me because it's like, oh well, we know what it is. It's actually this, but they messed up, so then they put this. Why would they care back then?
It was a falcon. Then the next ruler didn't like the falcon, so we had to carve over some kind of freaking other bird over the top of the falcon. But it's it's scratched into a wall, so when you kiss, it's not like you erased it. So now you have 2 birds on top of each other, but it just happens to look just like a freaking Apache helicopter.
Well, it's just like, you know how many hieroglyphics are on one wall? Hundreds of little microscopic shapes. You mean to tell me some asshole was able to pick that out of the lineup and be like, oh, you got to redo this part?
Just
like,
this one. Just this fucking one you have to redo, dude.
Yeah, this bird looks like shit. Maybe try again, huh?
And now it looks like a helicopter. No,
Yeah.
I think that was something they saw. I think they saw something. I mean, they don't have to be these freaking, that's the other misconception with aliens. They all think it's like this super being, supernatural freak. No, they probably just like, us, just maybe a little smarter, able to travel planets. And they like, oh, we had this flying machine so they can get around. And it was a helicopter. Like, oh, shit. And one guy's like, let me sketch that fucking thing down on this wall so other people can know. And then we just, discredit the fucking poor guy who spent all his time carving it and call him a piece of shit.
A piece of shit, yeah, because he doesn't know how to draw a bird.
Even though he really tried to draw this fucking helicopter.
Yeah, that dude was carving his little heart out. And then this guy shit all over his dreams.
Yeah, the fuck.
But no, I would love for it to be helicopters that they came down. And I would love for an alien to come down, just be a normal dude, be like, hey guys, I'm Craig.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're God. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably what happened. They come down, we're here to help you. Oh my God, you're my God.
Yeah. Anything bigger than them, they said was a God. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
the sun, it's God. It's like, no, it's just, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Just raw.
It's Ra, yeah.
A bird head on him. But yeah, and then you go. But the thing is, in these ancient civilizations, like if you go over to, the Mayans, or you go up through Mesopotamia, or you go out to, Pakistan, Indian area, they all have the same, like, there's this gods or beings coming from the sky, and they all have, the same type of, like, experience with them. And it just seems too coincidental that all these different civilizations that couldn't really communicate with each other, they're not, sending, their messages on Facebook Messenger to each other. They're not, texting each other. There's no way to communicate in that much, but they all have the same similar experiences, and they draw the same similar things. Like there's a ton of them. With the guy, the humanoid with the space helmet on. There's a shit ton of drawings across all of those civilizations of that same type of person.
It's all the same shit. There's pictures of flying machines and several different carvings from all over the world. I mean, they all say it's God, but then again, what would they know? Anything is God to these people.
It was a civilization back then, and someone comes from the sky. You never seen this before, and someone lands in this, from the sky in a flying craft. Of course, you're like, what the fuck? Damn, it's God. And they're like, no, don't, no, we're just here to, no, you're God.
It's like, no, I'm just Craig.
Yeah. It's to me, it's too coincidental for all these different, and then to have pyramids everywhere, just to build these pyramids is more of like, and it's always like a thing for your body to be passed on to the gods, a final resting place for the gods. It's like some kind of, it doesn't make sense to me that just all these people had the same idea without some kind of something intervening and, telling them about it.
And I mean, maybe I'm just a stickler, but a pyramid is a boring shape. So you mean to tell me all of these people had the same idea of this stupid triangle hut? Fuck out of here.
Triangle hut.
Yeah, well, that's right. I'm shit talking pyramids. What are you going to do about it?
I didn't know this went to a pyramid bash.
Pyramids are shit. Move on.
Well, the Mayans have a flat top, right? Don't they have like a flat top on their pyramid? They don't come to a point.
Yeah,
I don't think.
They fucked up like I did in Minecraft.
And they
got the
just
flat
said,
top.
And they just said, fuck it, it's not. Okay, I got it.
And they disappeared and deleted their save file, yes.
So, going back, you were saying they were like, usually the aliens were seen as a larger, like physically taller being, right? Usually, like the average height back then was like 5'5" for a male. So you're saying these aliens are usually taller?
That's what I've heard, and it's also gone into the Bible, because like the Anunnaki was, the race of aliens I mentioned earlier. But in the Bible, they're described as the Anunnaki, which they're described as these heavenly beings that are very large in size and, came down from the heavens, quote unquote, the same way.
That reminds me, like, if you go to Mayan and you look at Pakal the Great, he took over as a ruler at age 12. When he died, his sarcophagus was made, and it appears that it would like house a 7 to 8 foot tall person. And when archaeologists finally discovered it and everything, his body was pretty deteriorated. So you can't really get an exact height on him. But of course, they all just say, "Oh, he must have been 5'5" because that's what everyone was back then. But then you look at it and it's like, well, why the fuck is a sarcophagus 8 foot tall? And then there's tons of just carvings all over it, innate carvings on this sarcophagus. But then at the head, there's a carving that depicts him, King Bakal, which with his elongated head, larger offset eyes, and it appears he's flying a craft. He's grabbing levers, and he's in a seated position grabbing levers, like as if he's flying a craft. Now, of course, archaeologists that don't like to think outside the box or don't want to press anything that's not mainstream, they say it's his journey to the underworld. That's what that depicts. But it's like, well, why the fuck is he flying up?
Why would he need levers?
Why would he need levers?
The fuck is he doing?
I think King Pakal, because right before King Pakal took power, there was a lot of instability in the Mayan region, and a lot of cities were being left abandoned, and shit was not going well. It was a lot of turmoil. And he took over, and it prospered after he took over. I think he, again, was an alien brought down to say, let's just try to push this civilization forward. Going back to them being like an overseer, like kind of like a guardian, if you will, of a civilization that they want to try to farm. Because again, civilizations and life, I mean, probably is a lot of places with it, but it seems like it's hard to maintain. Like anything can happen. Natural disasters to cosmic disasters that just destroy the planet, like what happened to the dinosaurs. So I think he came down and said, yeah, we can't let this civilization fail. And they put Pakal the Great, King Pakal, in charge to bring that civilization back to what it was under the Mayans. Back to its former glory. That's how I feel about King Pakal.
Tall motherfucker.
And he was tall. I mean, why would they make a sarcophagus 8 feet tall if he was only 5'5"? It would make him look smaller.
It would make him look smaller. It wouldn't make any sense at all if he was 5'5".
It doesn't make any. And then you have all these innate carvings on it, and you have a grabbing levers and stuff. But it's just his trip to the underworld.
The levers thing throws me because I've seen a lot of like carvings and hieroglyphics with levers, and it's like, what were they for? If there was no craft or anything like that, what are you grabbing at?
And then on top of it, Pakal the Great. What was the average lifespan of a human back during the, Mayan years? Because King Pakal lived to 80 years old in 615. He died in, I don't know, freaking six something. But he took power in 615. So he died in 671 or something. He was 80 years old. Did people live to 80 back then?
No, not at all. Especially in that culture, and this is probably going to offend some people. Didn't they just like drop kick each other down the stairs or something? Like
there was a lot of human sacrifice.
Yeah.
In that culture, yes.
And wouldn't people be jealous of him being in charge and maybe try to get him out early?
If he's been in that long?
Yeah.
Oh no, he did bring a lot of wealth back to the Mayan area. Mayan took him out of the kind of like a dark age. Actually, he died in 683. So he took charge in 615 at 12. And he died in 683. So, I mean, it's 68 years. And then, so he was 80 years old. That just seems like a long time for a human in that time period, but probably not that long of a time for an alien who, was a more genetically evolved, better in the intelligence department, and probably had better medical support if he were to go back up to his mothership or something like that.
Bigger muscles, yeah. Yeah, no, because first off, no one, I don't care what, I don't care where you live in the world. You're not going to listen to a 12-year-old punk kid. And then you're definitely not going to let him make it to fucking 80. I mean, so yeah. No, something is definitely up with that. Or was, because that was a long-ass time ago. So, but...
And he brought these cities to, like, peak civilization, too. He introduced aqueducts to these cities. And he's also a very good general. He had a lot of military conquests under his belt. So it seems like he did a lot for what he was. Fighting? I guess just other tribal areas around.
Interesting. But yeah, so it all leads back to the pyramids. Boring shape.
And he was put in a pyramid. I mean, yeah, he was in a pyramid.
He was in a pyramid.
With a bunch of artifacts.
Now, how big is that pyramid compared to the ones in Egypt?
That's a good question. Let's see. We'd have to look that up.
Is it as impressive, or did someone get lazy? Let's find out.
It was the largest of the step pyramid structures. I'm going to butcher the fuck out of that word, so I'm not going to say what it's called in their language, but it's House of the Nine Shepherded Spears. How large was it? Let's see. It was not as big, I don't think. Let's see. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck meters are.
It's fake measurements.
It's a fake and they still keep fucking telling me in fucking meters. So it is 27.2 meters tall. Let's just do the conversion.
Yeah, what is that in real?
In real size, it would be only just under 90 feet tall.
Boo.
Not as impressed. Not
as boring. Did you ever see the video from like 2 years ago of because it's a huge tourist spot, the Mayan pyramids, obviously, and there's a bunch of people just walking around, watching, checking it out, and this random white girl just starts climbing the pyramid and goes all the way to the top, and it just outrages everybody. And she comes back down and they just start beating the shit out of her.
I didn't see which pyramid in Egypt.
In the Mayan pyramid.
Well, they were shorter. Yeah, she couldn't have made it to the top of the. Compared to the Egyptian pyramids, she wouldn't have made it to the top of the Gaza, 455 feet. She would have died.
Realistically, you won't even make it next to the Egyptian pyramids now. You got so many people trying to sell you shit and get nowhere near there.
Oh, it was just standing out there with T-shirts and shit before you even get near it?
They got that. They got so many scams going. Like, they come up and just put a bracelet on your arm. And they're like, all right, give me all your money now. I'm like, all right. This is a dream vacation.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind going to see these Mayan pyramids either down there. I mean, I know a lot of, like, I guess the rainforests have, like, engulfed them. But I'm sure they're still, I mean, you think they're boring, but they're probably still a sight to see.
Dumbass. Flat pyramid. Try
Short,
again.
too. Short,
yeah.
90 fucking feet.
I've seen roller coasters bigger than that.
Yeah, King Ka.
Lazy shit, anyway.
This is the pyramid bashing.
Yeah. Pyramid bashing with Josh. Stay tuned.
But yeah, so you got down there, and I guess it's in the same general vicinity of the Mayans. They have all them artifacts or like carvings that you can hold, but they all look like airplanes. So they have like they have faces on them, but they have like a fuselage, a tail rudder, fixed wings, and then smaller fixed wings in the back where the tail rudder is, and then in the front where the the cockpit would be, it's a face. And there's tons of these down in the Mayan region that they made and they found them in some vault from eons ago, way before planes were invented. Doesn't that, to me, that kind of shows that they've seen these things. They've seen it. And there's no fucking bird that has a tail rudder. When they try to say, oh, it's just a depiction. What bird has a tail rudder?
Yeah. It's, the detail in it is so intricate that you can't just say, that's the eagle. No, it's not. Not even kind of. No.
No. It's got fixed wings and it's got a tail rudder. No. Stop. Just stop.
Well, Joseph, sometimes the birds back in the day have fuselages. I don't know.
They had fuselages, I guess, back then in the day. They'd say they were built like the Falcon with a tail rudder.
Ugh. Stupid.
And then in these same, like, I guess, hieroglyphics, you see UFOs as well. The oval shape UFO in some of these hieroglyphics. And it's not just it's not localized. It's, again, across different civilizations. That same shape that somehow spread the earth in a time where transversing the entire earth was not very easy.
Yeah, and they're not just the UFOs. You see a lot of, very, very similar shaped people's heads.
Yeah, the elongated head, the bigger offset eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but either people were really ugly back then, or we were visited by someone who looked that way.
Yeah, there's no way that all these people just... That's what Keith looked like up the street, so I'm just going to draw it. Like, he didn't look like that. It was something else that came from somewhere else, not the same species, and they drew it. And from what I understand, they've done it a lot in paintings as well. We've seen paintings with these in the backgrounds, these UFOs.
All throughout history. The Madonna is a big one. You look in the background, there's a little fella pointing up at what appears to be a UFO.
It's very similar to a UFO, and he's pointing up at it. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll get into that more. I'm sure we'll get more into, art and stuff like that later on.
Yeah,
But
you want to do like a separate episode just for art?
there's so much in art, dude. Not even just alien stuff, but just art in general.
Art in general. You want to do a full episode just for art?
We could.
We could probably do that. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, there's a lot of I've seen UFO type drawings in art from back in the day. Like the that one I sent you before, that 1711, they called it like the baptism of Christ. But it's that UFO. It's like in the clouds, and there's a UFO with 3 beams of light just coming straight down from this oval shaped disc and hitting, just that one guy kneeling down in the middle of everyone else. And if you think someone depicted that as like God, that was pretty like depressing looking, for it to be like the almighty divine light coming down. That was the fucking UFO that guy depicted.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of art that says, "Oh, this is the light of God" or something like that, but it just straight up looks like a UFO. There's so many.
Why would it be just a fucking floating saucer with light? I don't understand why that would be the divine light.
Yeah, that of course just goes back to what we were saying, that anything, people couldn't explain back then is a god to them because they were stupid and didn't know any better.
But it was literally a foreign life form visiting. And
Yeah.
like I said, I think they were overseeing and nurturing humanity through tough times to get them going, because I think they want to make sure that if there's an intelligent life somewhere, to make sure it thrives and moves on. Because maybe it isn't, it might not be hugely abundant, but I think, once you get, I think there's like a UN of space. And these, I might be crazy, and then these alien life forms, like, yeah, if this planet is harboring life that could be potentially extremely intelligent, let's help them along.
Just saying, this goes back to that South Park episode. That's exactly what there was. And they deemed us too stupid, and they put a big box around Earth.
And I think that's what's going on now. And that's what, not to jump too far ahead, but we have all these drone and orb sightings now. And I think because, the whole World War III, how close we are, I think they're around watching like, yo, you guys better not fucking be stupid. Better not start fucking destroying shit. We're going to have to get involved. And I think that's what's going on. I think that's what they've done.
I want them to get involved. Please do. Come down and fix some shit, please.
Fix it up. And then the people are like, well, where'd they go? Where'd these aliens go? If they stepped in and they were helping the Egyptians and they were helping the Mayans, why aren't they helping us? Well, maybe there's a couple things. One, they were like, all right, we helped you enough. You should be able to handle it from here. And then that's what kind of makes me believe, too, that they kind of said, let's step aside for now and see how they do. Because right after all that, right after the Roman Empire, we had the Dark Ages, didn't we not? Where fucking everything regressed, right? Technology, everything regressed. You went from, like the Roman Empire and stuff, having aqueducts and sewage to people, in, the UK, in the England area, shitting in buckets on the street and dumping it out their windows.
Yeah.
It just seems like so that's why I feel like they step back. And you also see a lot less UFO stuff from that time period. They step back and said to see if they can handle it. And then we went through the Dark Ages, regressed, and then we kind of worked our way through it and came out.
That's when, right before the Dark Ages, when all the alien stuff kind of stopped. And then after the Dark Ages and time went on and civilization and blah, 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 then they started appearing, just UFOs flying and people catching it, a glimpse of it.
Yes.
And then
I think they're just watching now. It's like they don't want to get involved, but they want to make sure that we don't fuck shit up.
Right. And then I love when people are always like, where did they go? Fucking mind your business where they went. Don't worry about it.
Where'd you go?
Yeah.
Where the fuck did
you do?
Yeah,
they just fuck's your pyramid?
Yeah. They could have just, went back home. But like I was also saying too, what happens if that race of alien that from whatever planet had a catastrophe? And something did, it wiped them out and they're no longer here. That's also a possibility. Or, Joe Rogan's theory where they actually live in the oceans.
That one's very feasible, actually, because we haven't explored the ocean. Not
Yeah,
fully.
I think we've explored what 5 to 10% of our oceans on this planet. That's nuts. And I mean, most of the Earth is covered in ocean. We only explored 5 to 10%. There's fucking it's deep in some fucking areas. Maybe they did build some kind of civilization under the water to stay close, but not interfere, just to watch us. And maybe something to do with when you have the what they talk about the lost city of Atlantis, right? Underwater.
Underwater.
This could be a possibility. They backed off. They said, all right, they can try to take care of themselves. And they said, well, the best place for us to get away without bothering them and being seen is in the waters.
Yeah. Now all
And
I
that's
have to
why-
worry about is toxic waste.
Oh, you bastards. Fucking, yeah. But dropping the fucking, the plastic. Fucking dealing with that shit. But, like, if you look, like, going now, like that guy, Ryan Graves, he was on Joe Rogan. He talks about how these UAPs, these orbs, and these drones are going out over the water. What happens if these UAPs are actually there, like, spy plane for them, and they go out over the water because then they go into the water back to where they live?
Yeah. And
Because we lose tracking them. We don't track them anymore once they go out over the oceans. We lose them.
and they all go out over the oceans, don't they? I've been
Always, they
hearing
always
that.
fucking go out to they always go out to sea.
And there's no ships or anything they could be flying to.
I mean, for a ship to be fucking out there, I mean, there's no way we wouldn't be able to see it.
It'd
With our
be way
satellites, there's
Way
no
too
way.
noticeable.
Yeah, they have to go underwater. And there's been sightings of these things hitting the water and going underwater without even causing splashes, right?
Yeah.
Multiple pilots have come out talking about it.
Yeah. There's also, just going somewhat off topic, there was a lot of reports from like Navy ships seeing, different UFO type craft, stuff like that. They were nicknamed USOs, unidentified submerged objects.
Yes, I heard about this, yes.
So, I mean, it could just be part of that.
There's been, submarine pilots that said they've seen things fly by at like unreal underwater speeds. So it's just there's just so much we don't know about our own planet, let alone around us, that you can't sit there and tell me there's no other life besides what's here.
No, it's asinine to think that.
Impossible.
No, we're alone. But there's no one else out there.
Nothing
We're
to
just-
see here, guys.
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
Nothing to see here. I think the ones that say there's nothing to see here know more than we do. They just don't want to fucking they like monopolize all their knowledge on extraterrestrials and hide it from the general population as like we can't let them know, they'll be upset. No, we got our big boy pants on. Fucking tell us.
We're already upset. Just fucking come on.
Humanity now, they're all pissed off about the drones flying around and the government says we don't know anything about them. Just fucking tell us.
So sick of these fucking drones. Get away from my house.
We just need disclosure.
Just something. I mean, don't hold any more hearings. Don't say I'm a whistleblower. We don't give a fuck. Share
Okay.
something we could use.
Yeah, I really think they have some kind of alien craft in Area 51 and they just don't want to tell us about it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But in going back, there's always been an increased UFO sightings back in like the 40s and 50s during our nuclear testing. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
So, like, over near nuclear test sites, there's like during tests, there's always been increased number of UFO sightings. So it's like almost like, is it the aliens saying like, "Yo, they're fucking testing these nukes, which can really fuck shit up," or the other way around? Because then there's proof going way back to like ancient Pakistan Indian area in the Indus Valley that there might have been nukes used back then. Fucking freaking talk about BC times. Because there's in the Indus Valley, there used to be a civilization there that scientists believe housed about 15,000 people, but there's no evidence of death besides these 43 skeletons that were in a circle, all holding hands, and died very, abruptly. So there was a war that happened back here. Do you think aliens back then were like, yo, just, try this weapon out? And then the aliens kind of saw like, oh shit, this shit's fucked up. And then now they watch us make these things in more modern times and to like kind of, and hope that we don't use them. And that's why they're always around during those times. Because I've heard theories that they can, these drones and these things can like shut off our nuclear weapons.
See, that's an interesting thought. Like extra big brother keeping an eye on us.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to that Indus Valley, I mean, there's still radiation to this day in that area. And then they had a poem written about it. And the poem, I mean, to me, I don't know how else you can describe it. I mean, people say it's it's just mythology, but the poem literally states, a single projectile charged with all the power of the universe, an incandescent column of smoke and flame as bright as 1,000 suns, rising in all its splendor, an iron thunderbolt, a gigantic messenger of death, which reduced to ashes an entire race. This is a quote from this poem, back from this time. Now, to me, that sounds like what else could that be? It's a weapon of mass destruction of some kind. Did it make this whole thing up and it didn't do it? And then further in the poem, it talks about people who survive lose their hair and their nails. No.
See, that's very specific.
Yeah, it's very specific. What mythology would that be? I've been to enough nuclear power plants for work where I see the radiation sickness fucking charts on the wall, and it talks about losing your hair and your nails.
Jesus Christ.
So, I mean, kind of like goes hand in hand. That I think they had some kind of nuclear weapon, and then they find, besides the bodies that were just abruptly destroyed, holding hands in a circle, 43 of them, which makes me think like, oh shit, they knew something was coming. They said, yeah, it's just, final embrace and die. You have, built these buildings that were made of sandstone where the sand is turned to glass. You know what kind of heat is needed for that?
Atomic
heat. They found clay pots and stuff vitrified in this area. Now you need like 6,000 degrees to do that. Do you think an ancient civilization in the Indus Valley region, by bordering Pakistan and India, had the ability to create 6,000 degrees?
No.
It doesn't seem possible, right? It doesn't seem like they had that ability at that time. And I think something was going on there, that there was a war going on between them, and maybe someone had aliens on their side, and they're like, yo, check this out. I'll give you one of these.
Hey, hit this button real quick and just fucking watch.
And they annihilated this whole city. And that's what the poem seems to talk about, right? They said it wiped an entire race off the map, is basically what the poem said, right?
Yeah, I mean, that poem itself sounds like the same thing that, like, Oppenheimer was saying, like, I am he, destroyer of worlds. It's very similar to that.
Yeah, and there's no way an ancient civilization would have the ability to know how to make something like that.
Unless they had help.
Unless they had help from an extraterrestrial being of higher intelligence.
Named Craig.
Yes. Craig did it.
You pesky, pesky boy.
But then I always hear things too on top of it that, oh, well, if aliens are real and they're so great, why do they crash? You ever hear the people they ask that? I was asked that like on X, and I'm like, they're not like fucking, all powerful fucking. I mean, they're, they fucking make mistakes too, probably, right? Shit happens.
They hit the wrong lever.
He fucking crashed. Whatever, it's a different terrain, the planet. Maybe they're not used to Earth.
Different gravity, yeah.
Different gravity, like their planet might have might be, smaller, so they have less gravity affecting them. They didn't misjudge stuff.
They set their controllers to inverted.
They didn't have invert Y like I have to have. And, they crashed. That's the thing. Those type of freaking arguments make no sense to me. It's like, all right, you can go and just do whatever you want and see if you never fucking crash.
Yeah. Go fly a plane. Go ahead.
Shit happens sometimes. They crashed, whatever. But I think we do have crashed craft in Area 51, and I think we've been trying to reverse engineer their propulsion systems.
Oh, I'm sure they have by now. I mean, they also said they had bodies.
And the congressional meeting said they had, how they wrote it, organic material.
Ugh, just say it. We got bodies. What the fucking... Ugh.
Organic material.
Material. You got a little man who flies a flying spaceship. Just say it and show us.
Was the little green man, or you think it was one of the grays?
I don't even know.
I think it was one of the giants.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Fucking jacked alien looking like Thanos. Why not?
But like all these things together make me believe that there was some kind of extraterrestrial being that has come here and has persuaded and changed, the course of history for humanity on this planet. And I don't think, the evidence with going all the way back to when where single cell organisms were only on this planet and introducing alien, I don't think they would have evolved. They seem to stagnate out. It seems like something was introduced, and I don't think they would have evolved without alien help. So I think outside sources that were not from this planet have really driven us to where we are today.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that it would have been impossible for us to make it this far without some kind of help.
There's too much that can go wrong, yeah. Absolutely. We didn't even have water on this planet without comets hitting it. So, there was nothing here, and comets brought ice, I guess, and it's, they introduced water to the planet, but I think something else was like seeding the planet too on top of it on meteors. That wasn't their goal. It was just another organism that didn't know what the fuck was going on. It was just not a meteor, but I think that sprung and really created diversity in the organisms on this planet until the dinosaurs came along, and then maybe that theory where they just got, we don't like these giant lizards, cut them. Send it off. They're not good.
Get rid of them. They're ugly.
Yeah. So I think that these aliens now are just overseers trying to help us through tough times, and they just kind of watch now. They don't really intervene like they used to, but they watch and they want to make sure. And I'm hoping that if something were to come down where we have a World War III situation, they would step in.
I hope so, but I also want to see how many people nowadays would look at them and be like, this is God.
It's God. It's Jesus.
Yeah, it's the Jesus. He's back. Just happens to be green and scaly.
I don't know. We could probably do a whole episode on how I believe religion was influenced by aliens.
Yeah, no, I could absolutely get into that, because there is a lot with that.
Yeah.
Bible's a big-ass book, boy.
Yeah. And not to bash Christianity or anything, but it seems there's a lot of, you can look at it from a way that seems like aliens and extraterrestrials, the way just seeing them and stuff made someone come up with certain religions based off what they seen from, again, a being of higher intelligence that's come from the sky, and it shakes you to the core where you're like, what the fuck is this thing? I have to figure out how to explain it, and then you come up with, it's a god.
Yeah. You could look at religion, or just the Bible. You could look at it in so many different ways. You could take it for what it is. God is real. All of that is real. You could take it as a book of metaphors to prove a point, or you can do a mixture and see for what you do. Aliens and people, and yeah.
Yep. So I guess we should answer the question everyone's been waiting for, right? You know what that is?
Do tell.
Why the McDonald's ice cream machine is always broken?
Yes, we need to get into this because it's been bugging me.
All right, so the McDonald's ice cream machines, according to the Taylor Company, who owns their trademarks, says they're complex pieces of equipment. Somehow.
Ice cream machine, yeah.
Ice cream machine, yes. So there is a 4-hour daily cleansing cycle that has to be done. 4 hours a day to kill bacteria and maintain hygiene standards. So these you could think of it. These ice cream machines need to be cleaned 4 hours a day. And you know what time they fucking want to clean them? When everyone gets fucking ice cream. They don't do it in the morning. They don't do it during the fucking morning shift when breakfast is going on. They do it in the fucking afternoon and early evening. So if they break, these machines throw generic cryptic error codes that no McDonald's employee knows how to read. They have to call the technicians from the Taylor Company to come in and read these error codes so they can repair them. Now, sometimes it says these Taylor Company employees and technicians are weeks out. So this thing sits there broken for weeks. It is ridiculous. Now, according to McDonald's themselves, they claim that 95% of their ice cream machines work at any given time. Only 5% countrywide are broken, which I think is bullshit. And that's why there is a website. Whoever made this up is, a very good human being, great person. It's called McBroken. So if you go to McBroken, they will break down where ice cream machines are good and not good. Now, the closest McDonald's to my house, and I showed Josh the picture, they use that fucking thing as a lemon storage unit. I swear. They store lemons in this fucking thing. This thing's been broken for about 5 fucking years. So this all wraps up. I think the Taylor Company is aliens. I think it's an alien company that just likes to watch us get upset when we order our ice cream through the fucking app, and then you get up to the drive-thru window, and they say, you ain't getting your fucking ice cream, it's broken, and you already paid for it, so we'll give you a cookie or an apple pie.
Yeah, lukewarm apple pie.
Warm apple pie. So yeah, that's about it. So they have a 4-hour cleaning period a day that they only do when you want ice cream. And the fucking thing can't be touched unless you're a certified Taylor Company employee, aka alien, to fix these things and interpret the cryptic codes that they give off.
And I'll say this. The handful of times in my life that I've actually managed to get ice cream from one of these fucking places, it didn't taste that clean.
It didn't taste...
So 4 hours didn't do shit, or they're lying.
They're lying.
Yeah.
They're fucking lying. How hard, how complicated and complex could this fucking ice cream machine be?
It's physically impossible. No one's cleanliness standards are that high that it takes 4 hours to fucking clean a machine.
Yeah, but how complex could they be that they have these generic cryptic error codes? Dude, I work on fucking ultra booms that go up 185 fucking feet in the air, and it seems like these things are more technologically complex than that fucking thing that puts a human being 185 feet in the air and keeps him alive.
I don't understand it. I mean,
what is it? A fucking 2-month course on how to fix the fucking ice cream machine for these Taylor employees? This is bullshit.
I want to see the codes that come up. I would love to try to decipher those for myself.
Yeah. All right. But so next week or next episode, where are we going? What are we doing?
Where are we going? I say we keep it a little local. Because
we're staying local.
We'll stay local, because Joe and we're from the great state of New Jersey. And,
awesome state, poorly run.
Well, but We're New Jersey is one of my favorite websites. But there's a lot of places on there that I have visited. I know you have visited several locations yourself.
I have, yes.
And I would love to get into that a little bit.
Yes, from the Pine Barrens, where the Jersey Devil likes to reside, up to the Watchung Mountains, where the Devil's Tree is.
It's a nice area, aside from the KKK living nearby.
Yeah, they live nearby there, yeah. So I guess next week, we'll serve up some Weird New Jersey.
I like it.
All right, see you later.
Bye.